says you're an asshole, you owe him money, and that he's your brother. Bruce, we got Bruce Gwynn calling.
Just for disclosure, I want everybody to know that this caller is my brother. Growing up, he was my hero. He's still my hero. I've loved him all my life. He's the greatest guy in the world. And Bruce, I understand you did a little interview with who?
No, this is a review, and the person who was speaking on Maryland Public Radio was one Tony Schwartz.
Well, I'm pretty interested in this. I think we talked about this before, but you're on live now. We're taping, and so why don't you give it a shot? Let us hear what you have to say.
All right, here are some of the thoughts that I wrote down in the while listening to the interview, and it goes like this. While Donald Trump continually brags about his business savvy and financial success, there are a few who have questioned his numbers. We know he hasn't released his tax returns yet. And they've told a different story. Let us never forget that his mentor was Roy Cohen of the McCarthy area in the 50s, who spread the communist scare in the United States.
Right. Yeah.
Roy Cohen was a lawyer, represented the likes of Gotti and Paul Castellano, the mafia.
Mm.
Anyway, this person, Tony Schwartz, he was the ghostwriter for The Art of the Deal, Trump's best-selling book. In other words, Donald couldn't write it himself. Tony Schwartz, by his own admission, needed money, and this is because living in New York City, as he put it, ain't cheap, and was willing to write a glowing but false report about Trump's business dealings and Donald Trump, the man himself. Tony spent just about every day for 18 months with Donald Trump. I'll refer to Tony Schwartz as Dirty Tony,
okay,
and or a type of Judas.
All right.
Tony purposely created a picture. He needed the bucks. Pay that rent, take care of the wife and children. He created a picture in the book of Donald Trump being a highly successful tycoon.
Yeah.
However, years later, today, he says he's likely, he says that Trump is a Dr. Frankenstein. He's likely to lie about anything. Good old Dirty Tony, Tony Schwartz, now wants to set this record straight. And what I've attempted to list are Tony's, in Tony's own words, his updated, revised reflections and conclusions about Donald Trump, his character traits.
That's great. Shoot. Go ahead. Give it to us.
Okay, number one, I described him as a thug, a ham-fisted thug. Trump tried to evict rent-controlled tenants from a New York City building he had purchased.
That's dirty. I got rent control.
Yeah, he was, and his father were sued for refusing to rent to minorities, blacks particularly. He noticed that Trump has no attention span, and he compared him to an easily distracted kindergartner.
That's interesting.
His narcissist tendencies include loving to self-aggrandize, blowing his own horn. He has, Donald Trump, at best, only superficial knowledge about current issues, problems. And that's the result of very little reading and no depth of understanding. We know today that Donald is constantly using phrases like, he's a terrific guy. That was a terrific book, but nothing in detail. No understanding, nothing that he's come away with in particular that's enlightening, educational. He had a book of Hitler's speeches, which he claimed to be reading. And when he was asked by Dirty Tony what the title was, he said, "Well, I'm reading Mein Kampf."
That means my struggle in German, and that's the book that he made all his millions of dollars on before the industrialists and the 1% propelled him to the chancellorship of Nazi Germany.
Yeah, but he said he was reading a book of Hitler's speeches. Trump's pattern of interaction with others, and you have to remember, Tony was there for 18 months. We'd say sort of like a fly on the wall.
That's a long time.
He noted his techniques as being bullying others to flatter them or become angry and intimidating to those who weren't carrying out his wishes. He seemed to be in constant need of attention, of positive feedback. Tony noted, as Donald worked the phones, that lying comes easily to him. And he's even confided to Dirty Tony that Donald himself has called newspapers and others to plant rumors and false stories.
Wow.
His pursuit in life, his values, seem to be only